Hello, Happy New Year. Broadcasting from a new location in the house. Wanted to go over a few things about gypsy picking. It seems to be the most asked about response to any of the number of videos that I've put up so far, and thought maybe we could talk about kind of some of the basics and some of the techniques and how that applies, and see if that can help anybody as they begin to explore gypsy jazz and the incredibly tedious task of learning how to execute the rest stroke. So I guess the first thing to understand is what is gypsy picking, or what is the rest stroke. And essentially what it is it's utilizing your downstroke to accentuate and get more power and more tone out of the instrument. The real key to the rest stroke is acknowledging that every time you change a string, or essentially the first sort of directional pick of any line that you start, is going to be on a downstroke. So whether you're going from low to high or high to low, whenever you change a string, you want that first hit to be on a downstroke. And what's more, not only do you want that to be a downstroke, but you want to make sure that that stroke has enough power to rest on the string below it. So when I'm playing this note, which happens to be A, I'm playing a downstroke, and you can see that my hand the pick is literally resting on the string below it. So this is my E string, and here's my A string, so I'm resting on the A. And this is the same whenever you're going up. So let's just say, for example, I'm going to play kind of... So this is down, up, down, down. But since when I hit this, it's going to lead me into this, so I can just kind of make it into a sweep. And that's off a G major arpeggio, by the way. Which would be played if I was to play the whole thing like this. Down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up. And then to go from high to low, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, down. The reason why I end that on a down is because it just kind of gives it a little more power. And you'll see that a lot of times if you watch other players, or if you get a chance to jam with other people. The one thing that kind of needs to remain the constant when doing the most disciplined rest stroke is that you are hitting that rest stroke, that downstroke, whenever you're changing strings from high to low. But sometimes you might want to play a downstroke instead of alternate picking 3 notes. You might go... I'm playing all downstrokes there because it gives you more power. So sometimes when there's opportunities to do, a couple downstrokes in a row, even on the same string, they'll do it. Like that sort of, it's almost kind of based on an enclosure, let's just say, in G major. So that's going to be down, down. That's all downstrokes. So that just kind of gives you a couple of examples. Let's try to go into some more specific ideas and ways to apply. So really the things that you want to keep in mind, that you want to kind of keep conscious as you're working on this, is keeping the wrist nice and loose, keeping it floating above the fretboard. You don't want to have your hand anchored on the guitar. That's not gypsy style, that's not rest stroke. You want to have it kind of floating above the strings. And you really, similar to when you're playing rhythm, you kind of want to feel your fingers, in a sense, almost kind of digging into the strings a little bit as you're playing. The rest stroke is really pushing into the strings, especially as you hit the string below it and rest on it. And then on the way back down. You want it to be very deliberate. You want your attack to be clean and smooth, and you want to get a good tone out of your guitar. And the rest stroke is really going to deliver that, especially on these types of instruments. So a really good exercise that I like to use, both as a warm-up and also to kind of hone the technique a little bit, is just doing a series of arpeggios. Pick a key, while we're in G, let's say G for example, and just do major arpeggios based on the 1, the 4, and the 5. So you'd start at G, then go up to C, then to D, then back to G. Or you can even do it with something that's minor. Take, for example, go to A minor. To D minor. And then you can do like your minor arpeggio here. Any number of things like that can also be very helpful. Or you can try to pick, a series of notes on the strings, whether it's 2 notes per string, going towards you and then away from you. 2 or 3 at a time. Any of those things are all very helpful to develop your skills. But really the arpeggios are going to be very helpful because they're used the most often in Gypsy Jazz. And also it's going to be kind of the thing where an arpeggio can throw you for a loop a little bit, where it might be 2 notes, then 1, then 1, then 1, or 2 notes, then 1, then 2, then 3, or 4, or something like that. So I like to use the arpeggios, plus it sounds a little bit more musical than just doing... Although those exercises can be fun and cool, and certainly are things that you could probably throw out in the middle of solos and stuff, and it sounds outside and it sounds unique. I think just for the basis of practicing and keeping yourself sane, I like to use arpeggios a lot. So again, just kind of looking at like a 1, 4, 5. Start from here too. Just different things like that, just to give you ideas of ways that you can kind of just help yourself and practice a little bit. But really the key to remember with the gypsy stroke or the rest stroke or the gypsy picking or whatever you want to call it, is the fact that every time you change a string, it needs to be on a downstroke. The first note in a sequence of notes on a line on a single string needs to start on a downstroke. That downstroke needs to literally rest on the string below it. Right? And keep your wrist loose. Keep it loose, keep it floating above the soundboard, and try to make your wrist feel as loose as it does when you're playing rhythm. And those are all kind of key aspects or elements to putting together a good gypsy picking technique. So in any case, I hope you found that helpful, and look forward to questions and feedback and more to follow. Again, Happy New Year. Thank you.